Hello everybody! My name is Kikrlin, but you may also know me as Dino from PC2, and welcome to the Hero finale, where today our drivers are tackling the Temple of Speed. I'm of course talking about the world famous Monza circuit. This circuit is 5.8 kilometers or 3.6 miles long, and being the Temple of Speed, reaching around 264 kilometers or 164 miles per hour average speed, is only made out of 11 corners, 2 slow speed, 6 medium speed and 3 fast speed corners. This track is one of the most famous tracks on the calendar and also one of the only ones to be present from 1950 when F1 was made. It has also made absolutely incredible races in both IRL and F1 game leagues. Even when you think that you don't really get a lot of action on this track because it's only a straight, trust me, it's way more than that. Sebastian Vettel's incredible victory in Toro Rosso in 2009, Gasly's incredible win in 2020, McLaren's show of dominance on the straights, getting a 1-2 in the race in 2021, but the track is mostly famous when Ferrari wins, like Charles Leclerc in 2019 or Alonso in 2010, in their first ever years in that red suit. The Tifosi just get mad, and it's amazing to see, and it's one of the most memorable moments when it does happen. We might have some mixed conditions in the race with both dry and wet conditions, and for that we have the C2, C3 and C4 tires available, as well as the intermediate and wet tires for the rain. With me commentating today is of course Adam Lapidge. This is the Season 7 finale of PC1, and we already have our champion in Tuca, with the constructors still not being concluded, but in favor of AlphaTauri. And this is presumably the last F1 2021 race we're going to be doing. So Adam, how can you describe how this season has gone so far, and are you excited about the new era of F1 22?
Yeah, it's been an interesting season, shall we say. Tuca's effectively killed the rest of the grid with consistency after Drake retired. There will be, however, one more F1 2021 race within ERO before we move into the new era, the new cars, the new game, which launches on the 1st of July. We are going to have an All-Star race towards the end of the month. The grid for that will be getting confirmed on Tuesday. I will be putting a video out confirming that grid. And then we'll be racing that either, it hasn't been fully decided yet, either the 19th or the 26th. So that's going to be fun. And of course with the All-Star race we get drivers from all 3 of the tiers. We're going to have a couple of special guests in there as well, just around the grid out to 20. And it's realistic car performance. So these guys you see here in PC1, they're going to be driving the Williams cars, the Alfa Romeo cars, and the Alpine cars as 3 of the slower teams, whereas the PC3 guys, for example, they're going to have Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull, the quicker machinery, but being a lower tier, they should be the slower drivers, so it should balance everything out quite nicely throughout that race. As quite a lot of guys are piling out of the pit lane to get on track. The guy at the front of the queue, speaking of PC1 and PC3, is the Williams of Paolo Bellini, who started the season in PC3 after showing slightly ridiculous pace in the first couple of rounds, and then an unfortunate DNF in round 3 at China, where he was on course to finish in the top 2. Paolo was promoted up to PC1. And he's had some pretty decent performances, mostly in qualifying. The races tend to not go particularly great for him, but he'll be looking for a strong performance to round out the season here. And then obviously we're going to start our sign-up process next month when the new game comes out, and all these drivers will be vying for a spot in PC F1 as well. But of course we're going to have some of the PC guys turn on assists like yourself that do have pace and are going to be looking to break into this tier. We could have brand new drivers signing up that show the necessary pace to possibly oust some of these guys and see just how competitive we can make our top tier on PC for next season. As I think, let's ride on board with Paolo for his lap. This seems like a good thing to do. Just do a little track map of the fastest circuit in Formula 1. Paolo here braking 210 miles an hour as he runs down towards the Rettifilio chicane. The McLaren of Patrick just gets out of his way nicely, cuts across the escape road. probably the trickiest traction point there on the exit of the first chicane. It's the slowest part of the track. Through Curva Grande, Paolo using as much of that inside line as he can, actually putting a couple of wheels on the grass, hard on the brakes down for Della Roggia. Avoid these sausage curbs here because they will launch your car roughly into space. And then hard on the power, down a couple of gears here for Lesmo 1. Run it wide, but make sure you don't invalidate your lap. There's plenty of runoff out there. And then down another couple of gears here to Lesmo 2, hard on the power into the midpoint of the lap, and a DRS zone here for the run down to the triple chicane of Ascari. A place where it is easiest to lose the car. He's unfortunately going to invalidate, cutting too much on that first left. But you need to make sure you don't run too far over on the right-hand corner, because there is sleeping policeman sausage curbs out there, and they will unsettle the car. And then they run down into Parabolica. I can't even remember what they've renamed it to, but it will forever be Parabolica. And he's going to choose to bail his lap going into the pits instead of finishing it. I think he's going to put this lap in first. Badin also bails his lap, so it's going to be the Red Bull Reserve. Brand new driver for this weekend, does a 20.9 on the softs, and Tuka, Johnny and Ian all come around within 0.2 of a second, and Luke Mills actually puts the fastest time in of a 20.6 right now in that Alpine. So Luke's possibly looking to move to Italy, as he had some really good pace around Imola. Unfortunately, binned it through Tamburello. We'll be looking to avoid doing that, as Music goes fastest with a 20.4.
That is
times coming in right now.
That is pretty surprising indeed. He usually doesn't even have the pace in qualifying nor the race, but seeing him now in pole position sparks up a bit of hope for the Red Bull driver with his new teammate of Djordjevic now for the finale. But the benchmark, of course, for qualifying is probably going to be around a 120.0 or 120.2. We saw the fastest time in PC2, so that is probably going to be beaten by Tony Rich, who is now actually on mediums, one of the fastest PC drivers. And if he probably joined earlier in the season, he maybe could have been fighting for the championship if he didn't have some bad luck in Singapore and some other races. But we are going to go on board with him. Let's see what he's going to be able to do on those mediums. Currently at the exit of Lesmo 2. He gets a pretty good exit. He has some traffic right ahead of him. He's going to have to be hoping that they let him past, as Luke Mills takes provisional pole with a 120.1. That is a pretty good lap time, but let's see what everyone else is going to be able to do, as Niemsig does go off the racing line, off of the apex, but let's see what Rich is going to be able to do. He's maybe going to go for softs at the end. The delta between the softs and mediums should be around 5 to 6 tenths, not a lot, but still makes quite a big difference here on this track. And Rich is going to be doing a 121.8, and currently the slowest out of anyone that has set lap time so far.
That's because you said he was one of our fastest drivers. Tony was actually saying in chat beforehand, he hasn't driven Monza on this game since they updated the curbs predominantly at Della Roggia, which massively changed the line you had to take through there. You had to essentially get a whole extra gear down to take the corner because you couldn't bounce over the curbs anymore. You kind of just have to avoid them like the plague. It will not be surprising to me if we see at least 1 or 2 cars throughout the race ending up in that gravel, because if you take too much curb, it will just fire you, essentially.
Bodie nearly crashes.
Yeah, Badin almost loses the car, just coming out there of the Rettifilio chicane. But so this is going to ruin this lap, but he's not killed the car, so he does still have the remaining about 12 minutes, I think, of qualifying. There's a yellow flag at the moment, so it's not telling me how long there is. But he will have plenty of time to put a lap in and see where he can get on this grid. One of our PC2 drivers reserving up for this race just to help flash out the grid a little bit more. 11 minutes and 12 seconds to go, so plenty of time to do a couple of runs at least. Use up all of those qualifying tyres you get. Tyre wear's pretty minimal around here, so you can extremely easily do a one-stop. You can probably do about 24 laps on the mediums without too much trouble, and really push that one-stop. Go really aggressive with an early stop, provided you can make sure you keep the DRS from someone. It is extremely powerful around here, with everybody running basically no wings at the temple of speed, as is commonplace in Formula 1. Obviously, it doesn't have the graphical changes as they have in real life with the rear wing. It's sat almost flat when they race here at Monza, but we can promise you everyone's taking their wings off as Paolo does a 20.0 to go fastest. So almost breaking into those 19s. Said Paolo's pretty good in quali, but he's not usually our fastest driver. I don't think he's taken pole yet this season. So I will be expecting the pole time probably from the likes of Tony, Tuka, and one of those guys, Johnny maybe, to be within the 19s and to get under that 8-second barrier.
So far,
haven't even put a time in yet. Both Marek and Matteo just starting their laps. Marek's just coming around Curva Grande, had a bit of a lock-up going into Rettifilia. It shouldn't cost him too much time. As long as you get the line right through there, a little bit of a lock-up's not going to really cost you anything.
we also have a reserve of Michelin, who is also in the Mercedes. We saw last time, I think, 3 races before in Singapore, that he won the race. He has shown pretty decent pace in PC1. We're gonna have to wait and see if he's gonna be able to do it once again, and if he's gonna be able to fight at the front. But Znamirovski is currently the leading Mercedes right ahead, as he sets the purple sector 2 right before Ascari, and is very aggressive at Ascari.
Snap, yeah, a bit of a snap through that first left-hander, but manages to control it. Doesn't seem to have lost too much speed. It's a little bit of a slipstream from the out-of-fuel Williams as he runs into Parabolica. There's going to be an AlphaTauri in front of him, which might give him a minor bit of slipstream on the way down to the line. He may just be too far back from him, though. But it's going to be a 20.3 from Marek, which is going to put him P3 for now. But there's plenty of time for everyone to improve.
Let's see what his teammate is going to be doing.
Djokovic comes to the line and does a 20.5, so that's going to lodge him firmly within that top 10 for now.
And Michelin has also finished his lap 0.003 of a second slower than his teammate. That's a very close lap time between the two. And we also saw in previous races that Mercedes usually try to give each other slipstream in qualifying, and it's going to be interesting to see if we're going to see that today as well.
Just stealing some PC2 strategies, I think, but yeah, so 3,000 separates the Mercedes guys. Tuka's actually come and done a faster time and jumped himself up into P3 for Aston Martin as well. But with just 3,000 between the Mercedes drivers, which one's Lewis and which one's George?
Wait, what?
Who's Lewis and who's George out of the Mercedes drivers? Extremely closely matched.
We're gonna
Nobody's
have to
currently
see.
about P19 and clearly Valtteri.
Oh, Michelin is actually improving.
Yeah.
He's 4
tenths up.
That's a really fast lap time.
Flyer just keeps it in bounds on the exit of Ascari, and he's going to get a turn from Marek. I guess Marek going to get that hell of the way before they get into Paralco. He's done his time in the teens and 19. That's actually 4 tenths faster than his time trial, so I'm not even sure where that's come from. But it's a pretty mega lap from the AlphaTauri as Matteo beats it by almost 1/10 of a second with a 19.7 to go. Currently our fastest driver. Provisional pole for now. Ian jumps up to P4 as well, Johnny's teammate. AlphaTauri looking for a result here to secure this Constructors' Championship. Although I'm pretty sure with only one Aston Martin racing, they are out of reach, unless one of them gets banned from the season. Schumacher.
As we already have our first retirement of Bodian, unfortunately retiring right after Ascari hitting the wall at the exit, as Mikkelsen has also spun.
Moment.
Oh, and he's sideways on the track. Let's hope that Patrick, or who's that? It's Jurgiel. He didn't get...
Yeah, he's managed to get out of the way. I think Jacob, with a bit of smarts there, just drove straight off the track again to get out of the approaching McLaren. So Tifosi will be happy that the car's all in one piece. That has kind of ruined that lap from Jacob. Currently sat P16 on the grid.
And we also have a pretty close grid as well. And the grid is looking pretty close. Everyone between Michelin and Pavlakovic, or I mean Lucas Dirksen and P14, everyone separated by 1 second. So it's already showing that we are gonna have a pretty close race for today.
Yeah, I mean, it's Monza. There's not too many places you can gain or lose time. Unless you have a severe moment somewhere, but the nature of Monza and the speeds that you take at the majority of the track at, if you have a moment, you're probably dead. So, Jacob's done very well to keep it out the wall there. and avoid collecting anybody else as well.
At least it's going so well so far, as in PC2 we had like 7 retirements in qualifying. It was insane.
Yeah, we had 3 or 4 people just died on their opening lap through a Ascari because I don't know whether they didn't factor in the fact that the track was green and therefore would have less grip, and just got snaps of the rear end, couldn't catch it, and found themselves buried about 4 feet into a tyre wall.
As we are at the halfway point of the Grand Prix, the only people that haven't set lap time yet are Robertson and Bodian, who unfortunately has retired, as Berlini in the Williams is just starting his lap. He is currently in P3 with a 120.024, currently looking pretty good, as he has a major lockup coming out to turn 1, the first chicane. But he manages to get a pretty good exit. We're gonna have to wait and see if that lockup has lost him a bit of time as he uses the whole inside of the track. He is up by 17 thousandths of a second, so currently is looking good. He touches the sausage curb on the inside and loses the car.
Gets on the grass on the exit of Della Roggia and spins up the rear tyres. Does very well to catch it and not, you know, horribly murder himself. But it is going to ruin the lap. But we have seen some guys going and doing a couple of push laps back to back here. Luke's 20.1, that was on the second push lap, so there's nothing saying Paolo can't finish this lap, go again on the same set tyres without having to come in and box. But if he does that, I'm fairly sure he's not going to have time to go out again right at the end of the session. Just 4 minutes to go. So I imagine most people are going to be coming out now for their final runs, and we'll be looking to find any improvement they can. The Ferrari of Alfie Harvey just starting a lap. So he'll be the first guy, I think, to set his final time. Have to see if he can jump up from P15. Otherwise, the Tifosi might riot and burn the garage down. As he locks up into Filio, but he is driving without ABS for the first time. One of our PC2 drivers normally drives with that assist on. Obviously, it's banned in this tier, so he's kind of had to learn it on the fly in the last like 3 hours. He's half a tenth down coming into Della Roggia. But picks a clean line through there, not the fastest, but it's not going to get killed, so it's not too bad as he drops it into Lesmo 1, slightly misses the apex, but seems to carry decent speed through there. And another couple of gears again, doesn't quite cut over that inside curb at Lesmo 2 like he can do, but it's a safe lap here, and he's probably not going to be fighting for those pole positions anyway. But if he can find a couple of tenths, maybe a little more than that, he could try and move up. Possibly, or just find some more confidence. Unfortunately, he's invalidated at the start of a Ascari. So the corner that you don't want to cut too much, he does, and then misses doing so at Lesmo 2. So I think he's kind of got the corners mixed up slightly here, Alfie. As we do have a second Aston Martin to possibly make a little spice for the constructors. Mr. Hatchinen has jumped in. One of our other PC2 drivers actually finished second in the PC2 standings. Behind you. So he's going to be looking to see what he can do. He has raced a couple of times here in PC1 this season. With some decent pace, showing that he can live with these guys. So he's just coming out on track now. He's got 2 minutes and 10 seconds to set a time. So we'll be able to do it, but it's going to have to be a one and done here from Owen. A bit of one-shot quali just to round out the season.
Or is he maybe gonna do a Last of Us challenge like he did last time in Italy in PC2? He actually managed to start last and finish first, and it was.
I think that depends whether he's gonna actually make it around his first flying lap this time.
That is also gonna be a concern, as we are going on board with the other Ferrari of Mikkelsen, just going out to Parabolica to finish his lap as he takes a very nice line into Parabolica. Let's see what time this is gonna be.
Here's 6 tenths up, he needs to find some more.
Ooh, 120.4. Not
What's
really
the Red Bulls?
too good.
Never mind. And Neemsig comes and does a 20.0. It's 5 thousandths behind Bellini to drop it on the third row for now.
As
we have a few cars just starting their lap. Luke Mills going very slowly on the run down to Parabolica. He needs a bit of a wriggle on, otherwise he's not going to get around.
Yeah, we have a huge train of cars now.
1 minute left and fine. But we might get a bit of car park here on the run down into Parabolica. These guys are going to need to be acutely aware of who's coming up behind them on a flying lap and who's on an out lap to not hold anybody up and cause some penalties. And we look to be having a bit of AlphaTauri slipstream as Johnny gets the slipstream from Iron. Johnny's going to need 26 points here to take P3 in the championship. I bring him out, try and get Paul and take it off Michelin, and he's for now 19.5. It's a big lap for Johnny. And I think Iron's probably going on a flyer now, and yeah, Johnny gives him a toe down to Retafilio. So Iron's going to be looking for some pace here as well, just to find a few tenths to possibly lock out that front row, and then maybe do a bit of an Iron train and hold everybody up.
As we are gonna see the checkered flag being waved in 5 seconds, and let's see who else is gonna be on the lap as Niemcy goes into the pit lane, and I think that is gonna be Mikkelsen finishing.
That's gonna hit him done, I think. Yeah, I think he might have just got there for the checkered flag, so he might be able to do this lap as long as he has fuel on the car. But he won't want to be carrying that much fuel, so I'm not sure if he's gonna have it available. As a Dougal finishes with a 20.4, so that's going to keep him 14th for now. But we've got, who's this coming to the line? Is this Bellini?
Bellini,
but he's invalidated, unfortunately.
And then we
so
have the reserve,
who's a couple of tenths up, jumps up to P12 in the Red Bull. And Luke doesn't improve, stays P10. He's going to hope someone beats that so we can pick that alternate strategy and start on those medium tyres. Alfie comes in and pits, so it's going to be Iron next to the line. He's a 10th up, goes P3. Gets ahead of the championship winner and his rival, Tuka.
and next we have Tony Rich, but he unfortunately also hasn't validated, so next to cross the line is gonna be Michelin. He's of course gonna be wanting to fight for that pole position. He is 2 tenths off. Is he gonna be able to do it on this lap? He crosses the finish line, a 119.7, only improves by 37 thousandths of a second, but still, he is gonna secure the front row with Jonathan Foss.
Unless has anything to say about it, he's gonna be the last man. And no, only improves by half a tenth, so it stays P14. So the Tifosi might be burning down the garages after this. We'll have to keep a close eye on them. 14th and 18th only for Ferrari here at Monza.
At least Alfa Tauri is also Italian, so at least they're happy about something.
They've all got reversible shirts. They're going to be taking the Ferrari shirts off and turning them inside out, and then now the Alfa Tauri shirts.
That's probably
but
gonna happen.
As soon as these boys have finished wheeling Marek into the garage, that is going to end quali.
And as things stand, Jonathan Foss is gonna be our pole sitter for today's race. A very good showing from the Alpha Tauri boys. They are very close to securing the constructors, and this position in qualifying is just gonna make things easier. Michelin is gonna follow him right behind, and he's gonna lock the first row of the grid. Next is gonna be Bill Bass, Jonathan's teammate, and the PC1 champion of Tuka in the Aston Martin. They are gonna be starting on the second row. Robertson and Berlini are gonna be in the third row. Niemcy, Kenneth Namirovsky, P7 and P8, and Lucas Eriksson and Luke Mills are gonna be in P9 and P10. Everyone who I have mentioned so far are gonna have to start on the tires they set a fast lap on. So in this case they are gonna be softs. And everyone below, which is Jurgil, Georgievich, Pavlakovic, Mikkelsen, Patrick O'Dougall, Tony Rich, Heinen, Harvey and Bodian are gonna have a free choice of tire for the race. And let's see what they are gonna decide.
Wow. Like I say, the mediums will go a long way here. I think PC F3 last week when they did this race, obviously we were supposed to, but it was delayed due to real-life Monaco having a bit of a shower. We chose to postpone it a whole week instead of just running an hour behind schedule. They had a virtual safety car, I believe it was, on about lap 4, and a couple of guys pit for the mediums and managed to take them all the way to the end of the race. So you could see some aggressive strategies in case of a safety car. Hopefully we won't have a start like PCF2 had, where we had 2 guys dead before turn 1. The straight does narrow here. It's very wide when you start. There's a lot of room off the grid to find a bit of space to really drop the hammer and see how many places you can make up if people get wheel spin and the like. Obviously, traction control banned here as well, so wheel spin off the grid is not unexpected. For a couple of drivers, you do tend to see some changes on the run down to turn 1. But it tightens up as the pit lane comes out, the whole thing tightens for the run down into Retafilio, and it's a very heavy braking point. Even off the grid, you're looking at 180, 190 miles an hour by the time you reach that braking zone for a 60 miles an hour corner. Just 100 kilometers an hour you take that corner at. So, going to be hard on the brakes. You're going to be conscious of the guys in front of you. Hope you don't get collected by any of the guys behind you.
As we have started...
a bit of carnage.
Indeed. PC1 is unpredictable, like always, as we have just started the D4 formation lap, and the people who have chosen mediums are Jurgil, Djordjevic, Pavlakovic, Mikkelsen, and Tony Rich. So they're gonna be hoping to stay close to these guys who are on the used softs, and they're gonna be hoping to not lose too much time, as safety cars are probably gonna be a thing in the first couple of laps. It's just a thing in PC2.
There's gonna be quite a lot of reliance here on the McLaren boys. The lead medium runner, Mateusz Jurgiel. The guys behind also on the mediums, are we hoping that he's quick enough to stick with Luke Mills, or slow enough that they can get him the hell out of the way. And Patrick Adugal, the lead soft runner from behind those medium guys. They're going to be hoping that he doesn't cost them any time if he is going to overtake, which he is going to have that tyre advantage, but it's not massive around here. There's a couple of places where the softs really help. The Ector, they are pulling them in and just carrying more speed through Ascari with the extra grip on the tyres. As Johnny does an interesting warm-up strat by picking up a bit of grass, bit of a memento here from Monza.
As Berlini and Niemczyk have unfortunately been disqualified from the session. There was probably contact between the two drivers, but we are seeing Jonathan Foss just getting to the grid, and when everyone is gonna be, we are gonna be starting the Italian Grand Prix, which is gonna be the last race of Season 7.
Yeah, so Drivers' Championship already confirmed. If Aston Martin can pull a 1-2 out and both the AlphaTauris die, Aston Martin can overhaul them in the Constructors. But AlphaTauri only need, after Johnny's pole, they only need 3 points between them to secure it. So either driver finishing 8th place or above, or them taking 9th and 10th with a fastest lap would be enough. Game's predicted pit strategy is wrong as usual.
As we are going underway, we have 5 red lights and it's a long hold up as always, but we are underway for the Italian Grand Prix, the finale of Season 7, as Michelin gets an incredible start. He's gonna take the lead of the first, right before the first corner, but Jonathan Voss now has the inside line. Is he wanting to take the move? No, he's unfortunately gonna have to stay behind, as Bilbas also tried to have a move, but we already have a virtual safety car, as we have a few penalties already being handed, as Patrick Adugal, Niemczyk and Harvey and Pavlakovic all get 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think a little bit of contact trying to go through Retafile under the virtual safety car conditions. Unfortunately, Luke and Lucas at the back have no front wings, so those guys are going to be having to come in. Fortunately for them both, they did start on the soft tyres, so they could try and stretch some mediums 26 laps, go to the end, and it shouldn't cost them all that much. I did see some shards of carbon fibre flying about on the run down into Retafile, so I'm not sure if anybody else has damage, but we'll see at the end of this lap if anybody chooses to pit. This is going to really harm anybody who started on those medium tyres.
Oh, as Dirksen is just going off to the barrier.
Nice little meeting with Barrier there, tries to take Lesmo one a little bit too fast with not having a front wing. And the car just refuses to stick in that cambered corner. The VSC ends and we're going out of Ascari. And, well, we had... Ian went way off track on the exit of Ascari, and Tuka's going to get down the outside on the run down into Parabolica. He's going to be a car length ahead, so he's going to take P3, that final podium position, and going to look to have a run on Johnny if he can get close to him down this straight. But Johnny's going to be sat nicely in the slipstream of Matteo Michelin in the lead. As we're going to see now who's coming in from the back. So first man in is Padraig in the McLaren, and this is going to really harm Mikkelsen. 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane, and he started on mediums. So
as there was a huge contact between Znamamrowski and Robertson, and some people are sideways at the first chicane. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's fine. Niemczyk dropped all the way down to 11th from that. Robertson's lost a few places, start P5, now down in P9. And speaking of starts, Tony Rich up to P8, starting 16th on the medium tyres. And he's on a tear here, gets up behind Durkovic, the new reserve, and he's going to try to go right outside in Lesmo 1. That's
Jesus,
brave.
what the move!
A compliant Red Bull. He gets the move on the Frenchman, and he's up into P7. And we've got our first retirement. The other Red Bull of Music has died between the Lesmos. And will we see a safety car? Depends where that car's stranded, I imagine. But as of right now, FIA choosing not to do so. The car's already gone. So Invisible Italian Kaiju's doing a good job there, getting the car off the track. And the gap's starting to open up a little now. As Robertson manages to get past Durgovic, back up into P8 through a scary somehow. So a little bit of aggressive driving to get past our new reserve as Michelin goes fastest with a 22.2. So some pretty good pace here. They're only about 2 seconds off qualifying, with 24 laps worth of fuel on board.
As DRS has been enabled this lap, and this is gonna give everyone the opportunity to maybe try and go for some moves at the start finish straight and right before Ascari, as those are the only 2 DRS zones on the circuit, and the most positions are probably gonna be at the start finish straight, which is the longest straight of the 2. And
followed by a very heavy braking zone as well, so you can get alongside and brake very slightly later. You can quite easily squeeze somebody out through Retafilio.
Or you can just cut the whole chicane. Yes, he has.
Yeah, we don't want to see anybody lodged in the gravel with someone parked on top of them. Be a little aggressive through there. So yeah, Iron's managed to re-overtake Tuka, so that's got him P3 back, but Tuka's going to have the DRS here. Iron's dropping off the front two a little bit. If you just slow Tuka down, maybe one of the best chance for a win to take that P3 in the championship, allow him to have a bit of a one-on-one fight with Michelin at the front. But Iron's going to be a little exposed here. Not having the DRS. Tuka's going to come sailing past him, and the second Mercedes of Znamirovsky is getting on the back of these 2 as well. So we could have a bit of a 3-way fight here for third. As Tuka gets a really good drive. Johnny goes fastest with the 22.1, so he's starting to close that gap in at the front a little bit. And he's going to have the DRS on Michelin as well to hopefully make a move for the lead. Tuka does take P3, and Znamirovsky is going to have a look, but thinks better of it. That would be a bit of a daft place to dive from that far back. Just to sit in P5 for now. These guys with a little bit of a gap back to Bellini, who's now got Tony Rich all over the back of him, coming through Curva Grande. But Tony's spent all of the battery to do some heroics up from P16 on the grid, so he's not going to have too much in the way of defense or attack really at the moment. He's going to have to hang it out a little bit. Hope he can stay in the DRS range of Bellini, which should protect him from Robertson behind him.
As we also have a pretty tight battle with Robertson and Rich. Rich is really not showing the best pace. He is really struggling and using all of his ERS already, which is uncommon for him. He usually knows how to save the ERS, but he is gonna be under pressure from Robertson right behind. But the leaders currently are just in a pace of their own. They are already 3.5 seconds ahead of Tuka in P3, and this is already a pretty close battle, so let's
he gets our first corner cutting warning down in P12 for Ferrari. Mikkelsen had a bit of a moment through Della Roggio, and that's given Heinen the place for P13 in the Aston Martin. Remember, Aston Martin kind of need a 1-2 here in order to steal the constructors from under the noses of the AlphaTauris. As Robertson manages to get past Tony Rich down that pit straight.
As we have a 3 wide in T1 with Znamirovsky and Tuka actually making contact, but thankfully they have managed to continue, but going 3 wide at the chicane is not good. Not good.
Big lockup from Znamirovsky to try and get the car slowed down enough for Retafilio. But he managed to do so, and he's going to give him P4 and put him right in the back of Tuka. Some good racing going on here. There's not been any major incidents, a couple of little bits of needling here and there, which you kind of imagine at the end of a long season. With the championships effectively decided as Mikkelsen manages to retake P13 with the aid of DRS. But he's got 25 seconds to gain onto his teammate. So that's not ideal for him.
We have a pretty huge train forming up here with Tuka, Znamirovsky, Bilbas, Paolo, and Tony Rich as Borlini loses it! Barlini loses it and he's gonna retire from the race.
That's a safety car. He's on the track.
But he's not on the apex.
I don't care, he's on the track.
Yeah, that's not a safety car. That's not a safety car.
Michael Massey at his best right there.
Yeah.
How that's not a safety car, I have no idea.
I have no idea as well, but we have a
dangerous
huge
place
battle.
to leave a car.
We have a battle for the lead.
Znamirovsky's gonna have DRS here. As Johnny does take the lead, and Znamierovski's going to get down the inside of Tuka, and he's going to compromise him here, possibly through Refilio, and that might give Iron and Fraser and Tony, who have now all got on the back of them, a bit of a run through Curva Grande. Tuka gets a pretty good exit, actually. Should enable him to stay ahead of those guys and take off after Marek. As, yeah, we've got AlphaTauri Mercedes at the front have swapped. So Johnny now leads, which is where he needs to finish this race, so I think he'll be hoping for safety cars to the end to allow him to take that P3 in the championship that he's looking for, and definitely secure AlphaTauri's constructors.
We also have a pretty close battle here with Djordjevic and Jurgil, as the Red Bull driver has managed to overtake him right before the second chicane. A very good move from the new reserve. He's currently running in P8. That is a pretty good position for his first race. He started in P12, so improving by 4 positions, not too bad. Showing some pretty good pace at the moment.
Yeah, he's dropped off the pace of this sort of leading train,
but he's still in the points.
Driving pretty well, he's not making mistakes. And there's always the chance that somebody's going to murder themselves, like Owen's just done, out of Lesmo 1, which has gifted Mikkelsen back up to P12. So they're going to be looking to possibly continue that fight, but they're not really going to be doing so for points unless there's some safety cars, as Owen's completely lost his front wing, so he's also lost 2 places on the run down to Ascari, so he's going to have to pit yet again on lap 6. That's going to be his second time visiting the pits.
As Lucan has, as the Dirksen has died after Lesmo 2.
A safety car. Lucas ties down on the exit of Lesmo 2, so probably got a little bit too hasty on the power on that outside curb, and has binned the car. It's right on board with Michelin, and see as Alfie gets a drive through for speeding on the safety car. Yeah, he's got too hasty on the outside curb, and it's just spun him across the track and buried him in a wall. So I imagine all these guys on softs are going to come in, put some mediums on. This might promote Tony up to the lead of the race, actually. As the only one in this lead train on medium tyres, because you can't get softs 20 laps.
But if everyone who has softs now pits, they will be able to go until the end of the race. Like you said, the tire wear is not high on this track, and they can get those until the end of the race.
Yeah,
and Tony,
fine.
And Tony, Djordjevic, and Jurgil, and Pavlakovic, if they are going to be leading after they all pit, they are still going to have to go into the pit lane, so they are probably going to have to be hoping for another safety car at the later stages.
Bailed out a little bit by another safety car. Yeah, front 2 pit. I imagine we're going to see everybody else in. I'm surprised Ian didn't back this off a little bit. To
as
sure
Tony actually goes in as well.
As Znamierovski and Tuka collide in the pit lane. That's going to be a 5-second penalty for the Mercedes. As he's held slightly by a Michelin stop as well, which may drop him possibly. No, I think he's going to maintain P6.
We actually have the new reserve of Djordjevic leading in his first ever PC1 race.
As you do. This tends to be the way things go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're going to have a Red Bull followed by a McLaren followed by a Mercedes. Where have we seen this before at Monza?
No clue.
So what we're saying is Dirkovic and Michelin are going to end up buried in the gravel out of Refilio, right? And Patrick's going to somehow come from P13 to finish in second. Which would be a very impressive drive, considering he was 55 seconds off the train. But safety car's going to bunch everyone back up. It's going to put all these that had to pit early back in contention. Especially Owen, who's already pit twice. And I think Luke's probably pit twice as well, considering he's behind Owen.
And Robertson is actually on softs. Those tires will not go to the end, no way.
But he's going to be pretty dangerous on the exit of some corners. I'd expect him to see a move from him around the outside of Curva Grande. Pretty sharpish off this restart. The extra traction those soft tyres gives you is going to pay dividends out of the slow corners. Well, slow corner is the only one really that you would class as a slow corner here.
As I think the safety car might come in this lap, as we are just waiting for Mills, Heinen, Bodian, and Patrick to just form the grid or form this pack.
Quill doing a bit of off-roading. They're going to have some dirt on their tyres, which is fine on the safety car, but they are hard, so they're going to take a while to warm up anyway. As yeah, Tony's on the hard, so he's Oh, he's coming back in again. So he's going to choose mediums, but he's done this one lap on hards to get rid of the compound requirement. It's going to drop him down to probably P12. He should be able to stay ahead of Patrick. Should be a big enough gap that he can get in and out. But, of course, those guys at the back, they're not under a delta. So they're currently running around at full speed. And Tony a little bit delayed in the pits, but it should be fine, as we've got Tuka and Marek side by side through turn 1 under safety car. But they managed to avoid crashing into each other, so that's fine. As yeah, Tony's going to maintain P12, so he's going to have some overtakes to make if he wants to get back to where he was.
But he fortunately only lost 2 positions as he was running in P10, so he didn't even lose much time there by pitting, and he also has better tires, because hards, you don't really want to have them anywhere in Monza as well. It's very unpredictable and very slidey.
There's 2 or 3 tracks where they're not bad. Monza is not one of them.
Yes.
you just understeer everywhere, which is kind of terrifying when you're doing like 170.
And we can also check a few penalties. We fortunately don't have a lot of them, as Namirovsky and Mikkelsen both have 5 seconds, and Alfie somehow actually getting a drive-through penalty, so
he got pinged for speeding when the safety car came out, so he's going to have to serve that within the next couple of laps as the safety car is coming in. So that's going to drop Alfie off the back. He's going to be hoping for another safety car that doesn't speed under, getting back on the train, because it's going to drop him right off the back when he has to serve this drive-through within the next couple of laps. So Dokovic is going to back him up here, let the safety car get away on the run out of the Ascari. As a new reserve, let's hope he understands how safety car restarts work and doesn't start trying to brake check half the grid.
We're not gonna talk about that incident.
We have seen from some drivers that have been here a while, so hopefully the new blood is going to be sensible with this. Bleeds off a bit of speed around Parabolica, but he's not touching the brakes, so I think that'll be fine. It's not a sudden stop.
Let's see how he goes underway.
He's still backing him up. Still backing him up. All the way to the line he pretty much goes. But it's not really going to give him much of a run, but it's going to give Jurgiel and the guys behind less time to get an aggressive move down into Retfilio, but that's exactly what Michelin's going to try and do. Weaving left and right to look for a gap. As they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1, and Michelin goes from 3rd to 1st under brakes. That's a huge move. And then we've got
as we have a big crash! We have Djordjevic and Jonathan Foss colliding with each other, and unfortunately the Red Bull driver has retired from the race, and that's not even a safety car when he's literally on the apex.
He doesn't do it immediately after a safety car, but Johnny's going to have no front wing, so he's going to have to pit. And that's going to drop him to the back with Alfie when he serves his drive-through as he bounces over some sausage curves at Della Roger. So this win's not going to happen for Johnny without a bit of luck and a bit of magic. As we've also got Luke having some problems at Della Roger dropping off the back. But Michelin, with all the chaos unfolding behind him as he managed to get that lead, there's a 1.3 second advantage at the front. Jurgiel in P2 is going to be coming under some pressure here from Rakola and Bilbas and Znamirovsky and Robertson, who are all following him very closely. Pavlakovic drops off a little bit, but he's still within that 1 second if he can stick there. And we've got Tony going side by side with Jacob on the run down to Parabolica. And a bit of side by side going on in front as well, as Robertson's looking for a way past Znamirovsky, gets a tighter line through Parabolica, and he might get a run on the exit here. So they're going to be side by side on the run down to Retfilio. Because it'll be all about who's got the lower wings and who's going to manage to grab a slipstream from the cars in front.
As we also
still
see,
side by side.
As we also see,
Tuka gets down the inside of Jurgiel, big lockup from the McLaren. Manages to get it in, and Tuka's going to drive straight around the outside of him. It's going to compromise Jurgiel's exit though and give Bilbas a run through Curva Grande. And he's going to be looking to follow his championship rival through. But Jurgiel gets a really good drive through there and manages to hold him off. And that's going to maintain P3 for the McLaren. He's going to have another look possibly into Lesmo 1 here. He's going to dive down the inside. Please don't touch. This is good. Kill someone. No, he's fine. Bilbas gets through into P3 and gets the off after Tuka. But that gap at the front's now up to 2.5 seconds. With these guys fighting behind.
As now Namirovsky and Robertson are also going side by side right at Ascari, as Namirovsky I think is trying to go for a move on Jurgiel down the inside, and they still go side by side during the whole Ascari, and there was a bit of contact. I think there was a bit of contact between both of them, but now Znamierovski trying to go down the inside into Parabolica. I think Robertson also might go for that move, as he has the opportunity, he has the room, and he does go for it, as Znamierovski nearly loses the car, as the DRS is gonna be enabled this lap. But Jurgiel...
gonna get a better drive.
What the... What? How is it so fast on the straight line, as we have 3 wide, 4 wide into turn 1, and 3 wide again with Robertson, Jurgiel, and Tony Ridge. This is gonna end in carnage.
Where's that come from? Oh, there's a little bit of contact on the exit. Jurgiel gets a bit squirrely and kind of taps 3 or 4 cars, I think, there. But Robertson and Ritchie have managed to get through into P4 and P5, the Haas and Alfa Romeo. Jurgiel's dropped from P2 to P6 in the space of a lap.
As Heinen is...
Heinen now trying to get past Znamierovski, he bounces over the curbs, Dougal behind, and there's a front wing laying on the track. I'm not sure whose that is. Oh, it's Bodian's. So Alpine hoping they've got some more front wings, as they've already had to replace Luke's at least once. As the gap at the front's now 3.5 seconds. Michelin's essentially in another postcode at this point. It was only Johnny that could live with him on the first stint, and after the damage, Johnny's running in P15, and it's kind of showing nobody else can stick with the Frenchman. But we might have a bit of a battle royale for P2 between Tuka and Iron, as they've managed to bridge a gap to everyone behind them as well, and these two have been fighting pretty close most of the season.
As we are still watching this battle between these 5 drivers, and I think we might have 3 wide again, as Mikkelsen is getting a really incredible run here now on Pavlakovic and has DRS on Jurgiel. He is gonna do a double move, and Owen is just following him, and I think we might have 3 wide between Mikkelsen, Owen, and Pavlakovic, but thankfully Pavlakovic
just gets the hell out of there before they get to Refilio.
Mikkelsen's dead. Almost.
Oh dear. Yeah, so I think he did lose the rear on leaving Refilio, I think. Had to take to the escape road, do a bit of a Sebastian Vettel. That's going to drop him down to P10. So small mistakes like that can cost you a lot when everyone's so close. Pavlakovic manages to get down the inside of Jurgiel through Della Roggia. Jurgiel has to take to the escape road. And that's going to possibly open him up to Marek as well through the Lesmos. He gets a good enough exit, managed to stay ahead of the Mercedes. But we're starting to see a little bit of gap here, but Robertson and Ritchie are gaining on Bilbas and Tuka. Tuka manages to use the DRS on the run down into Ascari and take P2 back. Ian gets a bit squirrely through there, and Fraser might be close enough here to get DRS after Parabolica. And Tony's going to get DRS off him as well, so this could turn into a 4-way battle for P2. Now 4.5 seconds off the back of Michelin 1.
Bilbas now has DRS again, going out to the start-finish straight. Is he gonna be able to make a move for P2? We are gonna have to wait and see. He's not even using ERS, so he just probably wants to follow Tuka in these couple of laps, try to save and attack on the next lap, as Tuka actually has 70% of ERS, so he's saving it very much, so he's probably running a bit lower down for setup, managing to still stay ahead of Bilbas, who even has DRS. And that's
2% runs and blitz. As he's kind of showing here, even with the DRS, while Ian was closing, he never got close enough to even really consider a move. As we've got kind of a 3-way fight going on for P12 as well. Jonathan's managed to get on the back of Padraig and Alfie, and he's possibly going to be looking for a move into Refilio. Thinks better of it, the AlphaTauri driver, but a big lock up from Alfie, new to that ABS off setting, as he gets a bit of a squirrel out of Refilio, and that's going to give Johnny the place for P13 as he's starting to make his way back up through the grid. But as one Ferrari loses a place, another gains it, as Mikkelsen manages to overtake Jurgiel out of Lesmo 2, up for P8. So he'll be looking to get on the back of Quill in front and hopefully get some DRS, try and drag him a bit forwards. As Bilbas and Robertson in front now, going side by side through Parabolica. So the Haas and the Alfa Romeo with Tony behind have managed to catch up to these two, as they've been kind of dueling over P2 and costing each other time. And we're going to have a run side by side down the pit straight. These soft tyres for Fraser are going to give him some better exits out of Refilio. Backs out before the corner as Iron's going to try it down the inside of Tuka. But everyone keeps it clean. They all manage to get through the corner pretty well. See what kind of exit Fraser can get, whether we can get close to them. But I think they're going to be going side by side through Curva Grande, that championship 1 and 2. And Iron's going to have an inside line as Badian retires from the race on the exit of Ascari. And it's another safety car! Oh, that's going to spice it up a bit more. These four were all very close as it was, and they're just going to be right on each other. Probably the rest of the race, pretty much, but that's going to erode this 9-second lead that Michelin managed to build at the front. So the Frenchman not going to be particularly happy about that. He's done a lot of the hard work towards winning the race already, and that's now going to cost him. However, the likes of Quill and Alfie are going to be able to pit and get off those hard tyres, which have been costing them time.
And also Robertson as well.
Williams make some spaces from P7.
And Robertson as well. He is on those softs, and as we said before, they cannot go until the end of the race. So he also has a free pit stop here if he decides to do it. And Mikkelsen and Jurgiel as well. They also need to make a stop, as Michelin is going in. Maybe he wants to change to softs.
Yeah, I think we're going to see softs from most of the grid here. You can get them. Well, going to be 9 laps left when the safety car comes in.
Yeah, everyone's going in
really easily. Yeah, Michelin there on soft tyres. Tuka, Iron, Robertson, and Richie all following them in. There's going to be a bit of a battle of the pit crews, but of course in league racing the pit time is standardised. Unless anybody messes up and misses their go signal, we shouldn't see any changes in position, as Fraser almost gets jumped by Tony, but manages to hold on to P4. He's had to go mediums though. He's already used his good set of softs, so he's had to go on the medium tyres, which is going to put him at a bit of a disadvantage for the first few laps, but they might come good in the last 2 or 3 if he can stick with these guys. They're going to start losing a little bit of traction from those softs as they start to go away. Yeah, literally everybody's in. The only person staying out is Patrick Dougal, who stayed out on 2-lap-old medium tyres and managed to jump Marek in the Mercedes for P11. And despite all the troubles they've had at the start, Owen's up to P6 and Luke up to P10, so safety cars can really spice things up here. And Johnny's going to be still in P13 after he's going to put some softs on himself, but he's going to be right on the train, so it's going to depend what kind of spaces and places he can make up here. But I think overtaking 12 cars in probably about 9 laps may even be of the Norwegians' capabilities.
As things stand, we are currently on lap 16, right at the halfway point of the Grand Prix. Michelin is still leading the race. We saw that he has incredible pace, with him managing to create a gap of 7 seconds. He's probably going to be able to do that as well if he manages to get a good safety car restart. He is leading, so he can coordinate how he wants to do it. Tuka is following him right behind the PC1 champion, and Bill Bass also in P3. They are all looking pretty set to finish in these positions, but Robertson and Tony are also showing to be pretty good, as they were battling the whole time with Tuka and
they closed in pretty quickly on Tuka and Iron. Now they were costing each other time fighting, but Robertson especially has looked very racy on that last stint. But the advantage he had the last time's now been turned into a disadvantage, as he's the one on medium tyres with everyone around him on softs. So he's going to have to drive probably a bit defensively to try and keep some of the guys behind him. We know how aggressive Tony and Owen behind can be. So don't expect them to hesitate if they see an opportunity to stick their nose in somewhere. They will do it. We may see a little bit more carnage yet. It's down to just 14 runners here.
We should be seeing the safety car coming in this lap, while Harvey and Foss are just getting close to the grid. Jonathan Foss, of course, the bigger loser of this, as he had a major collision with Djordjevic right after the second safety car restart, I think it was, and unfortunately had to pit to change his front wing. But the current positions change, or the person who has gotten the most positions so far is actually being shared by Tony and Owen, both starting in P16 and 17 respectively, and earning 11 positions already. And they now have fresh tires, so they can maybe challenge for the lead if they will have the pace, or at least for a podium position. And the most positions lost, like I said before, is by Jonathan Foss, starting P16, now starting from P1. Yes, P1.
To pole, yeah.
And now P13.
Safety car is coming in, so Michelin's going to back them up, and I'm going to need to check out stream after we finish here, just to clip you calling Johnny a big loser.
I mean, I think he's gonna understand what I was going to. I mean, a big. I mean, I don't know how else you would say that he lost a lot here, starting from pole, now nearly lost.
My personal feeling on it is you would just say he's terrible, and then you're sort of keeping opinions out.
Yeah, he's probably gonna wanna kill me in the All-Star race.
Michelin's gone really early. Michelin's gone before Parabolica, and that's gonna it's caught Tuka out quite a bit, and well, most of the grid. There's already some big gaps at the front, and the guy who's probably nailed it really is Tony and Owen, who are both going to be coming up Fraser here. There's a bit of contact down into Retafilio. They're going to be 3 wide. Owen backs out of it. Thinks a big lock up in front. From I'm not sure who that was. I think it was Iron with a huge lock up for AlphaTauri, and that's going to overheat those soft tyres that are brand new on his car. And Tony manages to get P4. There's a bit of contact through Curva Grande between Owen and Fraser. And Owen's going to be looking for a move around the outside, but it's not the easiest place to get down the outside through Della Roccia, but Fraser's been spun. Got a little bit too much on that inside curb, and that's going to spin the car, but he manages to keep it running and keep all 4 wheels attached, but that's unfortunately going to drop him to the back of the field.
As Michelin has
Owens,
already gained...
got damage because he's just lost a bunch of places. He's dropped all the way down to P8.
He lost it at the exit of Lesmo 1, but Michelin has already got a second and a half almost between himself and Tuka. He's showing incredible pace here in
You need to calm down, Matteo. You need to calm down. Where's Drake when you need him?
Oh yeah, if Drake was here, he would be having a pretty ding-dong battle between himself and Michelin, and that's
pretty good. As Luke and Owen going side by side through Parabolica, he's got that inside line. He's going to be able to run it a bit tighter through there. Owen might still be feeling the effects of having a bit of a moment on his tyres. That's going to jump Owen up to P8, but that's going to jump Luke up to P8, but Owen's going to come back at him into Retafilio.
That's become 3 wide almost.
He's going to try and make it 3 wide.
Thankfully he backs out of it.
That, though.
And nearly loses the car
as
he locks up.
The escape road, and that's going to lose him positions to at least Johnny. Patrick can't quite find a way path, but that's going to put Johnny up in point. So he's starting to make his way through the field pretty quickly. And there's going to be some fighting going on in front of him, which might enable him to gain a few more places cheaply without having to make too much in the way of daring overtakes. As he's already right on the back of Luke. That's a little cheeky look into Lesmo 1. You don't want to send it down the inside there, Johnny. That's how you get killed. And a cheeky look into Lesmo 2 as well. I think he's just trying to scare Luke a little bit. Not sure if Luke runs the virtual rear view. If he does, I imagine he's going to be shouting in Brummy at Johnny to knock it off. As he's going to go for an offensive move on Owen, trying to get around the outside in a Scary. Owen kind of brushes him off the track a little bit, which is going to compromise him through there. Which might open him up to the AlphaTauri driver behind. I'm going to all tuck in the slipstream here. Luke spent basically all of his battery here fighting Owen, which is going to leave him exposed as he's going to go around the outside of Parabolica, possibly? That's not a move either! Luke's getting very aggressive here with Owen.
And Jonathan Foss is also trying to enter this fight as he overtakes Luke Mills.
Johnny's just playing eating ground, eating places. Manages to get past Luke, and he's going to be on the outside of Owen going into Retafilio. That is going to give him the inside for turn 2. As there's a bit of contact though on the entry. That's going to compromise his line.
Well, as Owen nearly crashes.
Pretty good exit as Owen gets a bit squirrely out of there. That's going to give Johnny up to P8, so he's just gained 2 more places in a lap. But he's now got 3.5 seconds to gain on Jurgiel up in front. So we'll be looking to see if the Norwegian can do that.
As Owen and Luke
how
Mills,
many points he can possibly earn.
Owen and Luke Mills going side by side into the chicane, and Owen had to take to the escape road. Unfortunately, he lost 2 positions because of that.
So it's now 3 seconds at the front, just for those of you wondering where Michelin was going. Home, I think. As Ian and Tony, though, all over the back of Tuka now. These 3 guys running within half a second of each other as they come through Ascari. Dropping Mikkelsen a little bit, and he's going to have Quill right behind, and they're going to have Jurgiel behind them in another little DRS train fighting over P5. But we might be getting a bit of 3 wide here into Retafilio too, because it's going to be the exposed one with no DRS, as it has been enabled for the pit straight this time round. And we'll have to see how good this low downforce setup of Tuka's is. Not good enough to fend off an Iron using ERS. As he gets down the inside, a little bit of hesitation for Tuka to turn in as there was an AlphaTauri kind of in the way. And Tony's going to look for an opportunist move on the exit of Retfilio. Get down the inside, possibly through Curva Grande. And
the kids still go side by
side. Out a
side.
little bit. Oh, and there's a bit of contact, a bit of wheel-to-wheel bashing between them.
As Tony tries to go around the outside.
Oh, that's a good move by Tony.
What a move.
Breaks a little later, manages to hang it around the outside of the first part of Della Roggia, which gives him the inside line for part 2. And that's going to promote him up onto the podium. And all this has allowed Mikkelsen and Quill behind to close up on the back. So we're going to have a bit of a 6-way train here for P2, possibly. Very, very difficult to get out of someone's DRS range here. Unless your name is specifically Matteo Michelin. So this might continue for the remaining 6 and a bit laps that we've got of the race. And I think it's all going to come down to that final lap of who actually manages to grab P2, unless somebody else kills themselves and we get another safety car.
And we also have a two-way train actually forming the DRS train, as Patrick O'Dougall and Robertson are going side by side into Parabolica, as Robertson actually manages to overtake down the inside, but Tony Rich and Bilbas are also having a bit of a battle, as Tony now takes P2 in his first ever Italian Grand Prix race, also showing pretty good pace here at the moment.
He's showing that he's pretty quick at learning and the power of the DRS. I mean, Tony hasn't really been the under-threat guy so far. He's always been behind someone with the DRS. So now we'll have to see how he manages to defend when he's the guy that doesn't have it. Unless he does manage to build this second on iron. He's flying. He's already 6/10 ahead of the AlphaTauri. But there's going to be a DRS zone right around this corner, which is going to allow Iron to close that gap in a little bit as he gains a bit of time through the les mode. And he's going to gain probably a couple of tenths down this straight, I would imagine. As I think Tony's deploying quite a bit. Yeah, he's already pretty low on battery, but it doesn't get him away from Iron, so the DRS is going to hang around for a while as the train goes all the way down to Matej Jurgiel in P7. And the cool thing about this, the thing that makes it extra interesting with us having equal cars here, as Patrick O'Dougall gets a 3-second time penalty, and Owen's dead. Did Patrick kill Owen? Because they were kind of side by side.
I don't know, but he's dead.
Owen very yes, I'm sorry, but
as Luke Mills also lost it. Oh, he's left.
No, he's DC. I will invite him.
Yes, please do. As we have side by side with Pavlakovic and Jurgiel. Pavlakovic unfortunately lost that position as Jurgiel was looking very comfortable under brakes. He managed to brake way later than Pavlakovic ever could. And thankfully, Luke Mills has already rejoined lobby, so he's not gonna lose too much time. As Robertson and Patrick O'Dougall again going side by side right after the second chicane, and there was a little bit of a contact, I think, between the two. As Patrick not leaving any space for the Haas driver, but still manages to get P10.
But everyone's alive, and Luke's back, so he's just rematerialized in the middle of this fight, which is a little bit terrifying for everyone involved. He probably pressed to rejoin, not expecting to get sent into Della Roggia. But that's exactly what's happened.
But let's see if he's going to be able to make the move into Ascari, and even before Ascari he's able to make the move. He has fresh tires, so he doesn't want to lose too much time from these two.
Being on the DRS gets a good run out of Lesmo too. With that DRS, with a bit of battery usage, manages to get back into the points. But this has dropped him off the back of Johnny and Marek up in front of him. But they don't seem to be gaining on the train in front of our 6 cars. Tony, I think, is closing in on Matteo a little bit. It's now down to 3.7. He's kind of bringing the rest of these guys with him. But he's going to need to pick up the pace a little bit more if he wants to get there before the end of the race. Michelin has spent quite a lot of his battery, though, building this gap. So if these guys do get on the back of him, he's not going to have too much in the way of defense against the DRS. But they're going to need to gain another 2.5 seconds in, well, a couple of laps, really, in order to get in that DRS range where it's going to be potentially effective. As I was saying before, Robertson again died.
Yeah.
This 6-car train for P2 is 6 different teams. This is what the 22 regulations were supposed to do. And they failed.
They should run equal cars and then everything's sorted, but that's why we have F2 and F3 and not F1.
Yeah. They should start with equal cars and an equal budget. The FIA should give them a car and go, there you go, upgrade it.
Oh, Robertson trying to go down the inside into a Ascari of Patrick O'Dougall, and he actually manages to do it. What a move!
Stupid, but brave.
Yes.
But it worked, it's fine. No one's dead. But they have dropped 2 seconds off the back of Luke, so they're kind of fighting for pride at this point more than points, unless somebody else kills themselves. And Mickelson has dropped off the back of the front of this front three of this train, so didn't get DRS this time and pit straight. What's Tony done?
The big contact between Bilbas and Tony Rich. I think he might have damage because of that.
He almost collected Mickelson on the exit. Front wings all intact. Whether there's anything else,
maybe it's invisible damage.
Maybe he's got side pod damage. We all know how fun that is.
Don't remind me, please.
That's going to release Ian and Tuka for P2 and 3, and these two are going to keep fighting, but they've lost another chunk of time to Matteo at the front. It's now up to 4.3 seconds like down. As Tuka gets a little bit wide through Lesmo 1. He's going to get DRS here down into Ascari. He's still sat on 75% of his battery. You have a battery, use it, Tuka. These cars are hybrids.
As Patrick and Robertson go side by side for the whole Lesmo, but Robertson manages to go around the outside, and a very impressive move from the Haas. He's showing good bravery here, going down the inside into Ascari and around the outside into Lesmo. Like, I would never do that. Never.
Patrick keeps getting him back, and he's no, I'm going to send it somewhere stupid, and it works, like every time. So I'm not really sure what he's doing. Maybe it's a Scotsman thing.
Maybe, but Bilbas is now under pressure from Tuka again, as both of them managed to overtake Tony Rich last lap. Tuka trying to go
makes
for
a move for P5. The fighting from the front guys, there's another huge lockup going into Retfilio. I think that was Tony, who looked for a move on Tuka, but Tuka manages to fend him off this time. And he's going to maintain that P3. But the mistake, or the contact, I suppose, between Tuka and Tony has brought Matthias and Jacob back onto the back of this train. And they brought Quill with them as well, so we're still going to have a 6-car train, possibly for P2. With just a lap and a half left to go, there could be some major contacts as we've got a yellow flag behind, and that's Alfie unfortunately spinning on the exit of Retfilio. But Matteo's managed to rebuild a gap now up to 5 seconds, and he's basically going to cruise it for this last lap, I think. He's running a second off his ultimate pace, so...
Tony trying to go down the inside into Ascari.
Maybe don't do that. He gets a pretty good drive through the corner, so we could have another run possibly into Parabolica. As well. But I don't think he's going to have that straight line advantage. He doesn't seem to be running a particularly low drag setup.
Oh,
but we are rounding now the last lap, so we've just got 2 DRS zones left. I think Tuka's going to have to go for a move here on Iron, and he's got so much battery to burn this lap.
But he's not using any of it.
I think he's forgot.
Maybe, as
Yogiel's going for a move on Tony Richard. They're going to go 3 wide as Tony chooses to attack Tuka as well. Bounces over the inside curb, and he's been spun.
Big contact with
Yogiel and curbs, and it spins him round, and that's going to promote Mickelson up into P4. With Yogiel coming under heavy pressure from Quill here. We'll have to see if they can get down the inside into Della Roggia. Possibly make a move on the McLaren driver, but while he's going on, Yogiel's going to have Mickelson as well. So we've got a bit of a 3-way fight for 4th here, as Ian and Tuka have kind of taken off again. But Matteo Michelon's the epitome of taking off this race, and he's 5.3 seconds up the road in front now, as he runs down to Ascari for the final. So Tuka's final DRS zone, the final real chance to make a run at Iron, unless Iron makes a mistake. And he's still sitting on 80% battery. I don't know why he's not spent it. Tuka!
No, he's using it now as
Maybe
Bilbas
killing AlphaTauri out of the last corner again. Now he's spending.
Bilbas
and he's going to run into Parabolica. Iron's harvesting. So he's not going to be able to defend this too hard. But he squeezes Tuka a little bit on entry, but Tuka's going to get a sharp run around there as Michelin wins the race. And can Tuka get Iron before the line? Oh, it's
no,
so
he
close.
Doesn't.
Iron fends him off and takes P2 ahead of Tuka. Jacob gets P3 ahead of Quill, who did manage to stay ahead of Yogiel. Tony, after that contact on the last lap, finishes P7. And, well, Johnny almost got him, only a second behind in P8. Marek finishes P9 for Mercedes, and Luke Mills takes the final point as we've got some chaos at the end of the season. Luke takes the final point for Alpine in P10, with Fraser in the Haas, Padraig in the McLaren. finishing 11th and 12th, and Alfie comes home to finish for Ferrari in P13. I think he spanned less than me, which is pretty good. I died like 4 times last week, winning no assists. So Alfie's done decently well. Tony still gets driver of the day. Personally, I think I'd give that to Michelin, because he was just
same.
in another tier. He was insane, the Mercedes driver.
I think he misunderstood. Like he was told that you have a Mercedes. I think he was thinking that he has a realistic Mercedes and not an equal Mercedes, and he just ran away.
Everybody else is driving Williams over here.
Yeah. But a very impressive win for Michelin. This is his second win. He won in Singapore and he wins in Italy. A very impressive showing, and he will be hoping that he can take this into F1 2022 as well. So he is our winner for the Italian Grand Prix, the final race of Season 7. Bill Bassi is gonna follow him right behind, and Tuca is gonna take the final podium position. Mikkelsen is gonna take P4 for Ferrari, starting from P14 to P4. Not too bad, actually a pretty good showing for Ferrari for the Tifosi. Pavlakovic is P5, I forgot to take the race director. We have Jorgil in P6, Tony Rich in P7, Foss in P8, Znamirovski in P9, and Luke Mills in P10. He takes the final point in Spain position. Robertson is going to take P11, Patrick O'Dougall, Harvey, Owen, Bodian, Georgievich, the Dirksen, Berlini, and Yemsik, unfortunately, is the last guy to finish. Or actually, he retired. So, yeah, unfortunately. What a race! Incredible race so far. It was very, very good. Now, I think we are gonna go with some interviews if we have some time.
Gonna try! If anybody actually wants to talk to us. Although I can't imagine they would.
I mean, we can ask. We can maybe ask if anyone wants to join for an interview. Join voice 1, and then anyone can speak.
Well, that's true.
Like anyone who wants to say something, go in VC1 and say it for the end, and that's it. Okay, we're gonna go to talking 1, and yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see who decides to join.
We're being ignored. As we expect.
Hi.
Oh, we actually have some people joining. Hello, Quill.
I would just congratulate Mikkelsen for beating me to P8 in the championship.
Yeah, which, I mean, I disagree with this. I'm going to be yelling at Watch about it anyway, with it being a brand new game. That would confirm Mikkelsen for PC1 next season, provided he
If Drake
signs up.
doesn't sign up, I might get in.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what Drake's doing for next season.
I think
Why is everyone here?
I think I could have gotten people in this race if. Well, I think it's Jurgil. I think
Yeah, Mateus.
if he didn't get out between me, I had more battery, and then I could just have DRS before Ascari.
Yeah, I mean, that
additional
train was
battery.
crazy at the end. It's like Matteo had left, Matteo had gone home already, and the rest of you were all just in a train at the end, and it could have been literally anyone that finished P2 there.
I was so close to falling off the back of that train.
I was watching from like my P11 where I was, and it was like watching AIs on the minimap.
Yeah, it was so close. I mean, the whole time it was well, who's gonna get a slightly better exit out of Parabolica? Who's got slightly more battery? Who's running slightly less wings? There was 5 or 6 massive lockups as someone just fucked it and just sent it into Retafilio. Like, and it was just smoke everywhere. It's like, someone's gonna die here, and then unfortunately Tony got collected on that last lap and dropped all the way down to essentially the back of that train and finished P7. But we do have our Constructors champions in here, I and Bill Bess and Jonathan Foss, the AlphaTauri boys. So how would you rate your performances this season, guys? And what are you looking for F1 2022? Are you going to be sticking together and trying to back it?
I mean, I guess we are trying to stay in Italy. I'm not saying which team, but we try to stay in Italy. Yeah, season. I mean, I finished P2, so you can say I was shit this season, to be honest. DNF too much.
I mean, you got killed by consistency. Like, Tukabot is Tukabot. He was just he basically made no mistakes all season. I think he got like 3 corner cutting penalties all season. He just doesn't get warnings. He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't go for stupid moves that get him killed. He's just consistent. I mean, that was the thing last season. Yeah, like, sure, he was in PCF2 because that's where he sort of jumped in with his time trials and things. By the time we realised he was way too quick for that tier, it was, a bit nuts. It was kind of too late to promote him at that point, so he kind of robbed PC2, but he did so with eerie consistency. Me and Dino were commentating that tier last season, and it was like, well, Tuka wins and doesn't have any penalties again, or warnings again, and he's basically just carried that on and done exactly the same thing. So you just need to beat him on raw pace.
Also, my goal for next game: be more consistent.
I think consistency plays a big part. If you actually look at the standings in terms of how many points you need for like P8, if you finished like 6th or 7th like every single race, you'd get that without getting the odd spooky podium or even a win out of nowhere like we saw Mickelson get in the wet. So you don't need mega pace in order to finish in that top 8. You just need to be really consistent. Just not die, not bin it or get taken out by people. Not necessarily intentionally, but people tangle, especially when the pace is so close between a lot of the grid. So Luke, this was your first season on a wheel. You finished, I think, P4 or 5 last year on the controller.
I think it was 6th in the end, yeah.
6th in the end? Okay. And obviously you were quite a way off the pace at the start of the year. In USA, you kind of got lapped by most of the field, I think. You were fighting for some pretty good points, even potentially a couple of wins, a couple of podiums especially, were on the cards for Jeddah, where you actually got one, and Imola, where you were right up there for the first sort of half, 2/3 of the race. So we're going to see that progression possibly for next season, and maybe fighting for those podiums a bit more often?
Well, obviously we're still waiting to see if it's going to be line only, so that's going to play a factor to how quick I am at the start of the season. But I think my consistency is something that'll help as long as I'm not disconnecting from the race.
That is true.
And also getting taken out off the start line, that was fun.
Yeah, what happened? At the start, I just saw you and Lucas off the back with no wings. Like, that's not gone well.
Yeah, me and Lucas were side by side. Then one of the McLarens just decides to just drive in between us when there's not the space there, and that just sends us both together. And yeah, that was just our races done and dusted pretty much. And then I had a chance to fight for something
before Retafilio. Yeah, I mean, you got a point. It's not bad.
Yeah, I could have had a few more, but nice disconnecting. But yeah, for next season, I think I can fight at the front, hopefully. I mean, I've had a few opportunities to do that and messed up, but that's just down to a lack of experience on a wheel of, having to drive to that pace. So I think that's sort of something that I'll just get more naturally used to over time. And
yeah, I have heard from a lot of people that have sort of transitioned from controller to wheel. There is sort of that learning period until you get back up to your pace where you were at before. But the theoretical maximum is quite a bit higher. You can be just so much more precise with a wheel. And there are certain tracks where a pad just doesn't work well at all. which you don't really get with a wheel. It's kind of good everywhere. So once you can sort of push past where your pad pace was and get closer up to that sort of theoretical maximum on the wheel, I think that we could see some very good results from you next season. I do know from how the calendar is at the moment, although there is a voting track for next season, that there is no Jeddah, so you're going to have to find somewhere else to get your podium.
I'll just do Imola. Oh, wait, is Imola on there? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll just not mess up that time. Imola.
But the voting track obviously depends on the tracks that currently aren't on the calendar, minus the ones that we're definitely not doing, like Monaco. And plus any of the DLC tracks and things like that. Obviously, I'm sure everyone's seen some of the screenshots that have got the likes of Portimao and China within the game menus, whether they're day one DLC or whether they're just automatically in the game. I'm not certain, but if they're free to everyone and easy enough to acquire, they'll be on that voting track list as well. So we could see a bit of a return to Portugal, which the 2022 cars won't be racing in real life. So could be interesting to see what kind of times people can do there as well. How much slower the new cars are.
Please don't have a Portuguese Grand Prix.
Portmail's great. What you on about?
It's one of the worst circuits to drive. Like, it's on the same tier as Monaco.
Oh,
and
Portmail's great.
Maybe China.
Portmail's great.
What's wrong with China?
I just don't like driving it. I just can't get in a rhythm, and to a lesser extent, Monza.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Monza fan. I don't know why I lose all the time at Monza. There's like 4 corners, but yeah, I'm not super a Monza fan personally. But it does create crazy racing, as we've kind of seen from all 3 tiers last week and this week. It's because the DRS is it's one of those things where the DRS is so powerful in terms of keeping you close to someone, but it's not really powerful in terms of overtaking them because you are moving so quickly at all points on that track. You just stick with people, and as soon as the guys in front of you start fighting and lose a bit of time, you manage to grab hold of their DRS, as we saw from Fraser and Tony. Tuka and Ian had a bit of a ding-dong for probably about half a lap, where they were basically side by side the whole time, and he just dragged you two right onto the back of them and made it that 4-way fight for P2 pretty early on in the race, as Matteo had just driven home again. But I imagine everyone's going to be signing up for Season 8, so we'll see how many new guys we get to fill out the PC1 grid, see if there's anybody else speedy that's going to turn up. Possibly for some of you guys, yeah, Cameron. Yeah, if Cameron has the time to race, that's going to be a bit nuts. Might have to tempt Drake back with that one.
If Cameron does have the time to race, what's the point in the rest of us turning up? That's my question.
Drake, come race the guy that forced school to retire. Come on. So,
yeah, I think we need Drake back. If that
you're gonna get battered by a 14-year-old Scotsman and a 16-year-old American. How does that make you feel?
At least I know where China is on the map. That's all. I bet Americans.
Yeah, I think the main issue, like, if Drake does have time to race next season, I believe there is a league race he's already agreed to do and already signed up to that runs at, if not the same, a very similar time to ERO. So I'm sure he'll have the time to attend, but you never know. Miracles have happened before. Then the main issue is when you do come to try and overtake him, the car just shoots you. So we'll have to find a way around that. But has anybody got any final words they want to say about Season 7, about how ERO's gone? And of course, if anybody has anything they want to say about the upcoming All-Star race, where the grid will be confirmed on Tuesday. I've got a video in the works for that. And I know you've seen some of it, Luke, because you're my...
Well, I just want to say thank you, both of you guys, for commentating every race.
Absolutely.
Of course.
It's been a pleasure. It's been crazy.
It's been an amazing season.
I don't think I'm going to forget that ending at Jeddah for a while. That was pretty nuts.
So, as I'm looking at it, no one's really saying it, so no one's really saying anything, so I would just like to say congratulations so far for everyone on the whole season, and thank you for entertaining both of us and the crowd for producing a very incredible season, probably one of the best seasons that I've seen in Euro history. And I would just like to say thank you for entertaining us the whole way through. And if no one has anything else to say, we can end things right here.
Yeah, actually, I think PC won as well. The Baku race this season, I believe, is Eero's most watched video, apart
Yes,
from the
it
shot
is.
that went viral, but that doesn't count. So you guys obviously entertaining quite a lot of people. I think that video's got somewhere in the region of about 1,500-1,800 views.
I don't know why anyone's choosing to watch that race.
It's carnage. It's Baku.
Because I won at race.
Yes, it's exactly that. Sending it out to the army of Max fans.
People like to watch Carnage. What can we say? And that's why Adam is talking all the time.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yes, of course. So, if you don't have any more questions, Adam, we're gonna end things here.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm also good, and that's why I gave you the privilege, because I cannot ask questions.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. So, this was the Italian Grand Prix, the finale of Season 7. We really do hope that you have enjoyed today's commentary and the race. And before we end the stream, we would just like to say thank you to our partners, Boldemania, Race Inside, Discord, JR Designs, and Gridfinder. Thank you for the partnership, we really value it. You can also join the official Discord channel. We are currently open for Season 8 signups, which are gonna be in the new F122 game coming out on the 1st of July. Yes, 1st of July.
Yeah.
We are not gonna have crossplay yet. Season 8 is gonna be individual consoles, so PS and PC individually. We are gonna have, I think, 4 PC tiers and 5 PS tiers, maybe 6 PS tiers.
Yeah, the setup at the moment, there is the channels and things like that set up for 5 PC tiers and 8 on PlayStation.
Jesus.
But obviously we are planning for obsolescence, so we're not expecting to get that many, but we might. So it's there in case we need it.
Yes.
But I think the expectation is either 6 or 7 on PlayStation, because they do have quite a few reserves in the 5 tiers right now, and then 4 on PC, because we've got about pushing 30 reserves on PC, and obviously 3 full grids for the tiers. So a 4th tier would balance it out quite nicely, and put everyone with people a bit closer to their pace, because nobody wants somebody 2 seconds down the road or 2 seconds off the pace just being a mobile chicane.
Yeah, of course. So you can sign up if you want to. Sign-ups, I think, are gonna last until August, the beginning of August, so you'll have enough time. If you do plan to buy the game, just join Eero, and we can assure you that you're gonna have a fun time. The community is very active, so even if you don't want to race, you can just chat with other people and stuff like that. Or you can apply as a helper. You can maybe apply as a commentator, maybe steward, whatever you prefer. But
Yeah, graphic designers,
yeah,
you know,
anything.
there's a space for everyone, kind of.
Anything. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching Season 7 of Euro. It has been my pleasure of commentating alongside Adam. It has been a lot of fun to do, and it has produced some of the most memorable moments that I've ever seen in F1. But yeah.
We will be back for Season 8. I don't know what tiers we're commentating yet. It kind of depends where we land. If neither of us are in PCF1, which I almost definitely won't be, but you might be, we'll be commentating this tier again. If not, we'll find a spot, but we'll be back.
Of course. And also, thank you everybody for having an interview with us here today. And yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. My name is Kikrlin or Dino. With me commentating was Adam or Zeke. This has been Season 7. It has been a real pleasure, it has been a lot of fun, and we hope to see you for the All-Stars race, which is going to be happening in around 2 to 3 weeks' time. And after that, we hope to see you in Season 8. Take care, and have a good night.